Today on FNAF Unsolved, we take a first step into the world of Freddy's, now a shut-down establishment, and we explore one of the crimes of the century that led to the end of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike,
where fantasy and fun come to life.
You must be absolutely insane to come here. Like, if I went to any sort of restaurant or pizzeria, I would not want to be greeted by this massive smiling bear when I come through the door. No child would come in, no children. I would get someone to pay me like $50 to even get me to enter this pizzeria. No siree. The establishments were shut down and abandoned not many years after they first opened. The co-founders of the company it was run by, Fazbear Entertainment, were called William Afton and Henry Emily. But little did they know when building the foundations that one day one of them would be a murderer. June 26th of an unknown year, 5 children suddenly vanished with no evidence as to where they had gone. There was one similarity between all 5 children, however. They had all visited and gone missing at the same location, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, leading to a shutdown of the company. Can you just imagine? You're this, 21-year-old guy, and you've opened your own business and everything. Then one day you suddenly say to yourself, ha, I'm going to troll myself. I'm gonna kill a few of our customers and shut my own business down. You must either really hate the other co-founder or you literally hate everyone. I mean, there's just no logic to it. Maybe this should be the unsolved mystery of the killer's motivation. In 1993, one abandoned pizzeria in particular was explored and was found to be haunted. A man by the name of Mike Schmidt was one to take the role as a night guard at this location and discovered tapes of an instructor being slaughtered by something supernatural.
Oh, hey, wow, day 4. I knew you could do it. Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been a bad night here for me. I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you when I did. Hey, do me a favor. Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. I'm going to try to hold out until someone checks. Maybe it won't be so bad. I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there. You know. Oh no.
This man, who has not yet been identified, was previously a night guard and had informed Mike about what to expect. And what occurred was something so absurd. The robots would move around at night, though switched off. It was as if something had controlled them. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy were alive during the night, bloodthirsty as Mike was in the main office for 6 hours every night. If you worked at this abandoned pizzeria, and you saw Bonnie's gaze through a doorway as if he wanted to kill you, what would you do? Because, let's be honest, there's not a lot that you could really do, especially when you're playing with essentially demons. Nobody would believe you either, so you can't just be like, I'm going to tell my mama about you. I would probably just drop everything, flip off a few animatronics while they're still inactive, and walk straight out the door. I don't care if I get fired. I do care, however, if I get fired, if you know what I mean. So maybe this should be the unsolved mystery of the night guard's motivation. And that's exactly what happened. Mike was fired for, quote, tampering with the animatronics, general unprofessionalism, odor, unquote. At least he was able to leave the job with a soul. But what happened? One day children go missing, and then a whole chain of establishments go haunted. There's missing information such as who the guy on the phone is, where the dead bodies went, and who the murderer was. So, let's get into the theories on what actually happened to the abandoned pizza place. The first theory places the name for the phone guy as Dave. Policemen in the area found the culprit, and they went by the name Dave, or formerly known as William Afton. Afton was the killer of the children all along, and was always hidden in the shadows. Evidence for him being the phone guy is he states in a tape recorded back in 1987 how Foxy was his favourite, whilst he has 3 children, one of which always wears the Foxy mask.
Hello? told you you wouldn't have any problems. Did Foxy ever appear in the hallway? Probably not. I was just curious. Like I said, he was always my favorite. They tried to remake Foxy, you know. They thought the first one was too scary, so they redesigned him to be more kid-friendly and put him in Kids Cove. To keep the toddlers entertained, you know.
It is possible that Afton hints towards his family here, but this theory doesn't exactly add up. Who the instructor is, nobody knows, but he was slaughtered on tape, and Afton still lives.
Oh, hey, wow, day 4. I knew you could do it. Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been a bad night here for me. I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you when I did. Hey, do me a favor. Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. I'm going to try to hold out until someone checks. Maybe it won't be so bad. I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there. You know. Oh no.
Additionally, in the same year's tape, the phone guy speaks about someone who used a yellow suit when they weren't supposed to. Could this have been Afton? And could this incident have occurred in 1987? Do you ever just lose track of years? I mean, I'm almost 18 and it feels like I've been on this rock for at least 50 years. Time is hard to keep a grasp of, but why does nobody know what year this was? Well, I'll tell you. The parents don't pay attention and they don't know what year their children went missing. You're at a restaurant and a few hours in you realise that your child has been missing for a while. You call the police and they ask you what time they went missing. How are you supposed to know? Oh yeah, it was approximately 2:51 PM when I saw my child go missing. The second theory accounts for the bigger story of the missing children's incident. There were 5 children and there were 4 animatronics. If there was just one more animatronic, it would make sense that the children's souls were the things that were controlling the robots. From other workings of Afton Robotics, blueprints show that other animatronics were designed to capture children. There was a luring device used to lure the children to the animatronic, and there was a storage tank which was planned to contain infants. The theory also explains why the animatronics were said to have an ooze of blood and mucus, and why if you listen close enough you can hear the screaming and the insanity of the children inside. Additionally, workers were said to have seen one other animatronic within the building, a hallucination, if you will, of a yellow-coloured Freddy. This theory includes this animatronic, who is said to have lived in the kitchen, where the cameras are disabled. It is believed that what is called the Golden Freddy is the most supernatural of them all, glitching through walls and haunting anybody who enters the building. But nobody knows why he is the most powerful, nor why he is there at all. I think this holds a good theory. Sure, it can be developed upon, but it creates this connection between these haunted animatronics that have suddenly turned savage and these 5 children who suddenly went missing. It makes sense for the children to have been stuffed into these animatronics, but the amount of voodoo required to get them to walk around the night. But Jesus. I can hardly make myself toast without burning it, and these children are dead, ready for revenge, I guess? All 5 children were inside of these 5 animatronics, but it is certainly unknown as to why they act like they do. Which brings us to the final theory. Supposing the children were in fact killed and stuffed into these robots, what makes them want to kill Schmidt? One theory states that it is all for revenge, and that Mike Schmidt is none other than William Afton. He gets fired for odour, something that could definitely be due to the guilt of murdering 5 children. From also being fired for tampering with the animatronics, could it be that an experiment went wrong and led to Afton trying to stop himself being murdered by his own murders? Either that, or Mike Schmidt is somebody like Afton, a shadowy figure that is easy enough to confuse with when you are a child. Whoever Mike Schmidt is, he is a monster, and lucky enough to escape the pizzeria with his body. I think Mike Schmidt could be Barney the dinosaur. Weren't there 5 children in that TV show? Also, there was a TV show called Fredbear and Friends that first started in 1983, like Barney and Friends that also started in 1983. I think we have ourselves a winning theory. With the speculation of what happened to the children with now identified names, Gabriel, Susie, Fritz, Jeremy, and Cassidy, this incident could be classed as the line that was crossed to lead to the closing of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and with continued hallucinations and supernatural events, this case remains unsolved. June 26th of an unknown year, 5 children suddenly vanished with no evidence as to where they had gone. There were 5 children, and there were 4 animatronics. If there was just one more animatronic, it would make sense that the children's souls were the things that were controlling the robots. It is believed that what is called the Golden Freddy is the most supernatural of them all, glitching through walls and haunting anybody who enters the building. But nobody knows why he is the most powerful, nor why he is there at all. Today on FNAF Unsolved, we look at the incidents that debatably changed Freddy's forever, that may or may not have ever happened. We explore the earliest animatronics and their malfunctions that could have also led to the shutdown of the company. If you thought the missing children's incident was crazy, just wait until you hear this one. Not only does it create more suspicion for the animatronics being powered by the souls of the dead, but it also shows just how horrible this place was. Here's a fun fact for you to question more things, however. Freddy Fazbear actually has a human handprint on his face. Of course we don't know whose handprint it is. A child's, a worker's, Barney the dinosaur, but it's there. And if you're not convinced that Freddy's is a terrible place yet, just wait until the end of this video.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, home to multiple murders and haunted animatronics that go savage at night. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. However, unknown to most, there's a 5th animatronic, a golden coloured Freddy that was seen in the establishment moving without an endoskeleton. Workers say that this animatronic was an old model that was scrapped and thrown away, but it is totally possible that a soul inhabits the robot. Phone Guy said that someone used a yellow suit in the safe room for something that it shouldn't have been used for.
Hello. What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it.
Freddy's has a lot more history than you think. Before Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was Fredbear's Family Diner, an establishment only containing 2 animatronics, Fredbear and Spring Body. Both animatronics were yellow coloured, and Fredbear is said to be the first design of Freddy Fazbear. It's thought that Fredbear and Golden Freddy have a large correlation that connects them. A bear and a bunny. Don't bears eat bunnies? Yeah, they do. And the proportions are totally off. But I'm not as concerned as I sound. The thing about these animatronics is they can also be worn as suits, so you can literally take out its insides and jump in its skin. Bit disgusting, but we do see how Golden Freddy turns out without his endoskeleton, like how I look in the morning, tired, slouched, and not really bothered with anything. I feel for you, Golden Freddy. In an unknown year, something went wrong at Fredbear's Family Diner, and it could be classed as another murder. Fredbear's was holding a birthday party, until unexpectedly, a small child was thrown into the mouth of the star animatronic. The robotic parts crushed through the child's head, and he was sent to A&E. Who was the child? William Afton identified it as his own son, but his name is disclosed and unknown to us. This incident was tragic, but not everything seems to add up. Firstly, Afton's foxy-headed son was the one responsible for the death of his own brother. Why would he do such a thing? But also, there may have been confusion about the details of the bite and if they were ever real at all. Did you ever have a gang? Like edgy 15-year-olds hanging out at the children's birthday party, being edgy? I always wished that we wore similar but different accessories, like for example masks. Imagine being the Foxy of the group, always alone and away from your mates, or the Chica, always holding food, and you're so popular that people make fan art of you. Oh Google, you really do personalise the ads I see. The reason people do not believe in this so-called bite of 83 is because of another event in which a similar act occurred. This one happened in 1987, and the details of this one are also missing. Seems pretty popular, right? Biting. In the span of about 5 years, more deaths occurred from animatronic bites than Pokemon Go. Now that is a statement and a half. So there's two events that may or may not have happened. So without further ado, let's get to the theories on what actually happened in this period of the 1980s. The first theory suggests that there never were two incidents. It could be the result of a Mandela effect, in which a population agrees on something, though it isn't actually true. Everyone has been brainwashed into thinking that these events occurred, though they hadn't. It's like when Nelson Mandela supposedly died in the prison in the 1980s, but it was a false memory shared with the population. It's almost proof for a multiverse, the strange concept of Schrödinger's cat, a cat in a box, both dead and alive. Both realities exist, but in separate universes. Did the bites ever happen, or was everyone brainwashed into thinking they did? But that leaves the question, why? Why would anybody do that? The pizzerias are bad enough with some sicko killing children. Clearly these events are too big to be completely fake, which means we will have to look at another theory to see what is truly going on. This theory suggests that one of them happened, and the other was a mix-up of years. How do we know one of them happened? Cameras. William Afton secretly set up cameras everywhere in the diner and around his house. He caught the event on tape. But let's pose the question, 83 or 87? And once again I'm going to make this point. Does nobody have a clock? Seriously, somebody must have known what year this happened. The cameras look to say 1983, as a TV broadcast of Fredbear and Friends was on during the bite. However, this could easily have been a recording or on a tape. You can never trust Afton after what he has done, so even this could have been faked. The third theory says the complete opposite. The bite of 87 was the real deal. The guy on the phone during Mike's shifts talked about the event and how it played out.
So just be aware, the characters do tend to wander a bit. They're left in some kind of free roaming mode at night. Something about their servos locking up, they get turned off for too long. They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know?
Damn, the frontal lobe. That's massive damage. But you could probably survive it. You might have a few problems with it though. If I were a zombie, here, take my advice. I would try and eat the entire brain. There's no chance of living then. Life hack. The man could have gotten confused with the bite of 83, but it doesn't look like the frontal lobe was the injured part. The only other thing we can deduce is that Foxy has a broken jaw, and nobody knows why. I guess you could say, bite or no bite, life or no life. This universe is overly complicated, and due to the mixed opinions about the topic, and a lack of reliability of evidence to support any theory, this case remains unsolved. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, home to multiple murders and haunted animatronics that go savage at night.
The co-founders of the company it was run by, Fazbear Entertainment, were called William Afton and Henry Emily. But little did they know when building the foundations that one day, one of them would be a murderer.
William Afton secretly set up cameras everywhere in the diner and around his house. He caught the event on tape.
Today, on FNAF Unsolved, 5 murders go up to 6 as we track the story of the lost puppet girl, Afton's secret victim that could have begun a never-ending rivalry. Yes, you guys all seem to love the series, so I'm continuing it. I just want to say in this little interval that yes, this is a parody of BuzzFeed Unsolved, which I'm a big fan of. I haven't mentioned that yet, so some people may be confused. Also, only 50% of you watching my videos are subscribed, so make sure you hit that button. It will tell you when I upload, and it's absolutely free. Thanks for your support, let's roll into the video. One cold, rainy night at Freddy's in the 1980s, there was a party. A small girl named Charlotte was said to have been last seen outside of the establishment, crying, before her mysterious death a few meters away. The girl was wearing a wristband, like all other children in the room, supposedly meaning that she was supposed to be inside. Why was she outside? Why did nobody let her come inside? And why was nobody there to witness the death? It's no surprise that at this point, the death of Charlotte was in fact a murder, and the evidence is in the tyre tracks in the ground that was tracked back to a purple car. Purple it's just one of those colours you don't see that often. However, in all of these cases, purple has been somewhat mentioned, and William Afton was said to have a purple appearance in the shadows. I still believe that Barney the Dinosaur theory still holds. Come on, it works, you have to admit it. The car did, in fact, lead back to William Afton himself. But why would he do such a thing? He pulled up outside his own establishment, just to kill a child, and then left at 200 miles per hour. Well, the reason could be beneath who the child was. Her full name is Charlotte Emily, and she is the daughter of Henry, who is in partnership with Afton. Oh my gosh, did not see that one coming. They're both co-founders of the company, and suddenly this happens. It's kind of bittersweet. But how in the world did Afton not even get a sentence? There's one more aspect of the story that has been untouched. Henry, being both a father and an inventor, created an animatronic with the role of keeping Charlotte safe. This is the security puppet, and it is programmed so that it recognizes children with a certain coloured bracelet on. At the time, Charlotte was wearing a green wristband, and the puppet detected green wristbands. So, why was she unprotected? Well, other children stopped this animatronic from leaving its box. Therefore, there was no security, and William Afton got off with a hook again. There were 6 murders, but this one was missing all along. I need one of those puppet things. I mean, they're pretty damn scary, but they seem like they could help me through everyday life. Maybe we could be like Romeo and Juliet, you know? Although I'm very much a human and she is very much a robot, we would get on swell. I just need to get that huge gaping smile out of my head. Oh, So creepy. This could not be the full story. There must be more to it. Like, how all this happened, why it happened, and what happened to Charlie, the puppet, Afton and Henry. So, without further ado, let's get into the theories on this strange night. The first theory is about the connection between the puppet and Charlie. It's clear the puppet was programmed to do whatever it could to protect her. The rain clearly damages the animatronic, but it doesn't stop it from helping Charlie. They both essentially die together. But how could this be? There have been other night guards, such as Jeremy Fitzgerald, who have worked a shift at Freddy's and stated that the puppet was present during those nights. How would she have been active? Well, the theory suggests that, like the other 5 children, the soul of Charlie was transferred to the robot, and the puppet was now a haunted creature. There were 6 murders, and 6 animatronics. This theory makes perfectly good sense. I think everyone believes at this point that the souls of the children power the robots. It wouldn't make sense if this other child was murdered and didn't take another life in the form of a killer animatronic. Still, I think there's an overarching theory here that we're all missing, that begins with B and rhymes with Arnie. We need to look at why William would do such a thing. So theory number 2 gives reasoning towards Afton's actions. He purposefully targeted Charlotte, knowing that she was his business partner's daughter. Could it have been revenge? Possibly. It is known that William was more of a businessman than an animatronic designer, but it didn't stop him from creating things. It may have been possible that his ideas got rejected from Henry, and as a retaliation, he murdered his daughter. Whoa, okay, that took a turn. Hey you, I'm gonna kill your child if you don't accept my ideas. Got it? This theory seems to be a stretch, but it is entirely impossible that it was all for revenge. Theory number 3 is very similar, but catches on to another idea. Afton is a family guy. He had 3 children. However, one day, one of his own creations ended up killing his own daughter. Could he have been jealous of Henry and his daughter? It's possible he planned it, so that it seemed that the puppet was the one who killed Charlotte. But it didn't work. The final theory I have for you is how Afton managed to pull this off. So many things could have gone wrong, but he knew that the puppet was there to protect Charlie, as it had been there on other working days. Maybe, just maybe, the kids that stopped the puppet were under the influence of Afton himself. But we will never know. The murderer got another victim and escaped again, with the mysterious death of the puppet girl and lack of reasoning for the murder. This case remains unsolved. June 26th of an unknown year. 5 children suddenly vanish with no evidence as to where they had gone. One cold, rainy night at Freddy's in the 1980s, there was a party. A small girl named Charlotte was said to have been last seen outside of the establishment, crying, before her mysterious death a few meters away. There were 6 murders and 6 animatronics. Maybe, just maybe, the kids that stopped the puppet were under the influence of Afton himself, but we will never know. Today, on FNAF Unsolved, we will be adventuring into the story of one of the missing children and her tragic fate in the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, as well as the cursed labyrinth that led to her death. Welcome to episode 4 of FNAF Unsolved. I love making this series for you all to enjoy, and I'm here to announce that I'm going to be making these into seasons. This, of course, is only season 1, and there'll be 5 episodes in total. The reason I'm doing this is because I feel like this season all has the same kind of theme, and it's very basic. In higher seasons it'll become more complicated. Also, I want there to be a season finale to round everything up that's already been said. Finally, I would ideally like to change a little bit of the formatting of the show in the future, but I don't want it to be too abrupt. Anyway, let's begin today's episode. The missing children's incident was a blur to everybody at first. The bodies of the children were missing. There was no security footage of the murders, and the murderer, William Afton, didn't get arrested for it. Since then, however, we have been able to piece together what happened to these 5 poor souls, and we have been able to pinpoint a date and a location. The kids were lured into a private party room, where they met their demise, and the bodies were lined up across the back of the room. This took place in 1985, and it is a day that changed Freddy's forever. Not only that, but we have also been able to pinpoint exactly what happened to one of the kids that went missing, and it could be possible to use this information to make a general statement on what happened in the missing children's incident. This is Susie, a young girl who actually had a very rough time in the week leading up to her death. One day, the day of the incident, Susie was at Freddy's on an arcade machine called the Fruity Maze, but as she was playing it, she began to see hallucinations on the screen. What first seemed like a game where you collected various fruits in a maze was being corrupted into a game with a yellow bunny and dead dogs. In the reflection of the screen, you can see Susie crying, whilst a real yellow bunny creeps up behind her to take her away. Well, that escalated quickly. Although, sometimes when I go down pipes in Super Mario, all I can think about is flushing my dead fish down the toilet. They were called Mario and Luigi. Why was Susie seeing these hallucinations before her on the screen? For that, we need to go back a little bit on the incident that changed who Susie was. Susie had a dog herself, until one day, it itself went missing. She cried a lot as she finally saw a dog's corpse in the road, and her screams were drained by the car alarms. It's a dreadful event to think about, but could it have any role in what happened at the pizzeria? Yes. While seeing the hallucinations and hearing those deafening sirens, the yellow rabbit approached and then told her that he knows where the actual puppy is. Susie followed him into the private room in which Afton, in the suit, murdered her too. Oh, this is so tragic! Her dog dies and then she gets murdered. It was like in real life foreshadowing. I'll be honest though, I don't think I would go to Freddy's after my dog had died. Actually, maybe to cheer me up a little, but you could just go get a new dog. Or fishing. Fishing's good too. But is this really the full story? Why was Susie the child that was chosen? And could it all have been planned? We're going to need to look at some of the theories on this matter. And for the first time in this series, you can now vote for your favourite theory. So stick around for all of the theories in this video, and then at the end, there'll be a poll card where you can vote for your favourite theory. Let's see which one comes out at the top. The first and second theories go all the way back to one of the first theories in the series. The fact that the souls of these children all enter the animatronics and power them when they are deactivated. We've already clarified in previous episode that Susie becomes Chica, but this theory suggests that the dog becomes something too. Oh my god! Why is that so derpy to me? Just a dog that kills over and dies and then suddenly controls another animatronic. Which one though? The cupcake? Then it would be perfect because it's cheaper than a cupcake. I wish that was the solution. The first theory believes that the dog was just a test. William Afton wanted to make the animatronics more realistic, and he believed that one way to do this was by using the real souls. Before he did anything with children's souls, he tested and experimented with the dogs, and when it worked, he went with his plan to kill the children for the animatronics. However, although that is a good theory, the next one gives more purpose to the dog. The experiment becomes Mangle. Mangle is a scrapped toy foxy animatronic, but he is very mysterious and acts differently to the others. There are a few reasons this is believed. Firstly, it is believed that Mangle could have been the cause of the bite of 87, and dogs are known for biting more than humans. But also, watch this clip.
笑いかわせには事故ではなかった。私は死ぬ日までそのバカなクマをトロールするつもりだ。それではまた我が人生と目的の状態について何が言えるか。目的はあるのか？私はそれを持っていたのか？それは深い謎だ。怒りの道場に座って誰かここから下ろしてくれ。解決できないと思う。それは自ら呼ぶもの。私はそれを何と呼ぶべきかと思った。なれなければならないと思う。ここのアンタゴニストになるつもりなら、私は少なくとも私の隠れ家の名前を持たなければならない。私は自分の時間と何か関係があるのか
？Yeah, I'm sure some random strange Japanese show about Freddy, Foxy and Mangle is right about this. If you are unsure if an animated TV broadcast is a good source for the answers, the entire story of the missing children's incident was sneakily hidden in an innocent anime show, and it tells the order of the murders as well as how they were complete.
Dear Diary, yesterday was so amazing, and I met such a wonderful guy. But I don't think it was meant to last, for my heart belongs to another. He's so amazing and strong and so cute. I've been thinking about him all day, and I think he's really into me too. He's the only one for me. I just know it. And I know just how to get him. Look at that top hat. That amazing top hat. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. I told him that I needed help with my homework, but once he's there, I'll have him. And once I have him, he'll be mine forever. There is only one thing that could possibly go wrong. Look at that untamed fur. That amazing silky sheen. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. I told him that someone ran over his dog in front of my house. But once he's there, I'll entice him with warm cookies, lure him inside, invite him inside, and then I'll have him. And once I have him, he'll be mine forever. There is only one thing that could possibly go wrong. Look at those ears, those amazing ears. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. I told him that my house was on fire. But once he's there, I'll tell him that I threw myself on the flames to put them out. He'll be so impressed that he'll fall for me immediately. And once I have him, he'll be mine forever. Look at those eyes. Those amazing eyes. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. I told him that I've taken several live hostages at my house. But once he's there, I'll tell him that I let them go because I love him. He'll fall for me immediately. And once I have him, he'll be mine forever. Look at those strings. Those long, beautiful strings. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. I told him to come over later. That should be enough. And if he doesn't show up, I'll just go to his house. And if he doesn't open the door, I'll just find a window. Chimney's always an option. Or I could set the house on fire and wait for him to run out. Then he could run into my arms. There is only one thing that could possibly go wrong. Look at that snout. Looks aren't everything. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. I'll just wait for him after school, throw a bag over his head, hit him with a shovel, and drag him into the back of my car. Then, when he wakes up, I'll tell him that someone was trying to kidnap and kill him. I don't know, Balloon Boy maybe. And then I'll tell him that I rescued him. He'll fall for me immediately. There is only one thing that could possibly go wrong.
I just got proven wrong. So, theory number 3 says that William's plan was to kill the dog and use it to lure Susie into the party room. All of the children he took in the spring Bonnie costume had to be lured in some way. And the way he got Susie was by gaining her trust and pretending that he knew where her dog was. But these theories are up to debate, and it's your choice on which ones you believe and which ones you don't. Here's just a quick reminder to click that poll card in the top right hand corner and vote for your favourite theory. Also remember to comment your theories below, and you could be featured in a future episode. That was a tongue twister. Finally, the next episode is the last episode of this season, so be prepared for a big finale, with the mystery of Susie and her dog, Mangle, and a corrupted television broadcast. This case remains unsolved.
He'll chop and slice, you cut and dice, you eat you up whole, eat you whole.
Today, on the finale of FNAF Unsolved, we take a step back and look at everything so far. We will begin to draw connections between events and start to get a sense of what is really happening in this universe. Yes, this is the finale of the season. 5 nights, 5 kids, 5 episodes of FNAF Unsolved. When I think about it, it doesn't really feel like 5 at all. I made the first episode way back in December last year, but I didn't have the channel available to me. Somehow since then I've made another 4 episodes. Anyway, don't worry, because it will not stop at 5. We're going to round everything up today, about the actual technology behind the robots, and how all of these murdered kids link together. 1983. The Bite of 83. For Afton's son, the worst possible fate. A giant Fredbear crushing his skull. It was all the workings of his older brother. 1985. The missing children's incident. For 6 children, including the other co-founder's daughter, plus a dog, their fate was in William Afton, in a spring Bonnie suit. They were lured, captured, and killed. 1987. The Bite of 87. An individual took an attack from Mangle to the frontal lobe, but survived. What happened? These 3 massive incidents all had a lot of things in common. They were all aimed at children. They all had something to do with Fazbear Entertainment, and their cause was due to malfunctioning animatronics and a killer in a suit. But theorists say that the souls of the dead are what are powering these animatronics. They go savage at night, chasing Afton and hunting night guards. What is wrong with them? They all contain remnant. What is remnant? It's something that William Afton worked extremely hard on. The thing that makes the animatronics more lifelike, the thing that powers animatronics at night, the thing that makes them go savage. But to understand what remnant truly is, we have to look at the workings of Afton Robotics. So what Other Me is saying is that I could be killed and my soul could be captured. Then that soul goes into molten metal and then put inside a robot, and then I have control over the robot. So what if Mario was the same in Super Mario Odyssey? He just throws his hat at things and possesses different creatures with his undead soul. Whoa. Just whoa. Afton Robotics is the company under William Afton's name. All of these blueprints shown were created by William Afton himself, and shows him to be the one responsible for the usage of remnant. Let's introduce ourselves to the Scooper, a tool that Afton has hidden underneath the basement of his own home. The Scooper is a powerful machine that acts as an injection. As shown by the blueprints of it, the Scooper held remnants that were permanently injected into the animatronics to make them more lifelike. However, there's something else that needs to be mentioned about the Scooper. This is point D. When heated, no observable motion. Keeping a heated tank at sustained temperature. Substance should be malleable, but not more. There is a possibility that overheating might neutralize the effects permanently. It sounds like the only way to discard remnant and free the souls of the children is by heating it up. A fire, perhaps? Just like the fire at Fazbear Fright in 2023. I'm really starting to see a few connections here. People were using Afton's remnant weaknesses against him, not only freeing the souls of the dead children who deserve to be put at rest, but also burning the killer alive for eternal hell. Sorry, I'm overdoing this section, aren't I? I'm just so excited. Finally this all will be over. The killer dies, the dead is put to rest. It's the end. William Afton escaped the fire, and more traces of remnant-infused robots were found. Are you kidding me? It's not the end. Yet. Remnant doesn't explain everything, however. For example, if all of the robots had remnant inside them, then why can Golden Freddy teleport through walls and create hallucinations? Why does the puppet claim to be more powerful than the others? From her own speech.
The others are under my protection. The others are like animals, but I am very aware.
And from the phone guy.
I'll be honest, I never liked that puppet thing. It's always thinking, and it can go anywhere. I don't think the Freddy mask will fool it, so just don't forget the music box.
And finally, why is Mangle the least lifelike? I think it's time for a theory. Theory number 1. It's all just a video game, so it doesn't matter, and anything goes. And yes, I'm breaking the fourth wall by saying this. Actually, theory number 2 could just be that it was all a dream. The third theory suggests that although all the animatronics have remnant inside them, not all of them have the same amount. If Golden Freddy had more remnant, it would be plausible that he would be more powerful. Likewise, if Mangle only had a dog soul, it would probably be less powerful than a human soul. There's one slight problem with this, however. So far, we've found 5 cases of missing children, 2 bite victims, another separate girl, and a dog. That only sums up to 9 souls. Problem here is that there are many different types of characters, in many different types of styles, in many different ages, in many different establishments, in many different buildings, all over America. So how can just 9 souls power them all? Maybe, just maybe, instead of Golden Freddy having more than 1 soul, the others have less than 1. Gabriel is the child assigned to Freddy, but he also powers Toy Freddy, Withered Freddy, Rockstar Freddy, and the other 100 that there are. It's a stretch, but this quantum entanglement could play a huge role into learning about the secret technology of Remnant. And there you go, an explanation better than "it's all just a game" or "it's all just a dream." Do you like this theory, or do you not? Vote now in the poll and discuss your reasoning in the comment section below. There's one final thing to round this all off. The puppet gave gifts. The puppet wanted revenge against 𝓑𝓮. And once the children's souls were freed forever, there were 2 children who were not put at rest on the happiest day. The puppet and Golden Freddy. They still wanted to torment 𝓑𝓮 for his actions, so the story continues. But the question is, what was so special about Cassidy and Golden Freddy? Why was she and the puppet the only ones who wanted revenge? That is a mystery for another season, but for now, let's put our minds to rest and leave this case unsolved.